Today we're going to be reviewing the Blade 14, so here it is, a tiny little 14-inch powerhouse. I bought the eye-watering expensive mid-range 3070 model with QHD screen, but it's also available in a 3060 with 1080p screen and 3080 again with the QHD screen. Now, as all of these GPUs are limited to 100 watts and the 1080p panel is quite slow compared to the QHD, I think this 3070 with QHD panel is the best option for most people. Looking around the laptop, it just looks like the previous Razer blades we've been seeing since the introduction of the Blade 15. But when you pick one up in person, you realise just how tiny this is, making me feel like I've got a Razer Blade Stealth replacement in my hand instead of a full powered laptop. So to put the size into perspective, here it is up against my Razer Blade Stealth and also up against my Razer Blade 15. The lid has the usual lit Razer logo and the laptop still picks up fingerprints like crazy. The blade also feels incredibly solid and really dense, weighing in just under 1.8 kilograms, and it has the usual Razer fit and finish you'd expect for a laptop to go along with this price tag. Port selections are still pretty healthy considering it's a 14-inch laptop, with two USB 3.1s, two USB-Cs, an HDMI 2.1 port, and a headset jack. And you also get the usual Razer Blade power connector. As this is a Ryzen laptop, there is no Thunderbolt ports, so if you need to use an eGPU or a Thunderbolt dock, then you're going to need to look at the Razer Blade 15 or 17 with the Intel CPUs. This laptop is shipped with the same 230W PSU as the Blade 15 and 17, and although this is necessary to drive the high-end components, it's a real shame as it looks absolutely huge against this tiny laptop. You can open the blade with one hand, and you're going to be treated to the usual fantastic touchpad and beautiful RGB keyboard. The layout of the keyboard is good, and the power button is integrated into the keyboard like it is on the Stealth, but an accidental press will not cause the laptop to go to sleep or turn off, so there's no worries there. The keyboard is per key RGB, but as I don't live in the States, my secondary functions are not lit, and this is something that Razer's been doing for years now, and considering how expensive this is, I think it's a real shame that anybody that lives outside of the United States gets a second-class keyboard. Razer really need to improve the keyboard across the range here, as these are really expensive laptops. Typing on the keyboard is an okay experience, as it is with all Razer blades. And if I could ask Razer to improve one thing with this keyboard, it would to actually improve the feel of these laptop keyboards. Either side of the keyboard we get upward firing speakers, and they sound pretty impressive for a 14-inch laptop. Moving up to the screen, we get a gorgeous QHD 165 panel that's incredibly responsive and also looks beautiful. I'm running at 125 DPI, and although the icons are tiny, it's still really easy to use the screen as it's so crisp, and we get an incredible amount of screen real estate. Above the screen we get a webcam. This is a test of the webcam and the microphones on the Razer Blade 14. And we also get Windows Hello, which is incredibly responsive and as always my favourite way to log into Windows. But let's get down to business and actually look at the performance. Because Razer have decided to use a Ryzen 7nm CPU in this 14-inch chassis, they've managed to get incredible CPU performance without it throttling like crazy. Razer also decided to include the high-end 5900HX CPU, which to me is an odd choice as this processor is never going to reach its maximum potential in such a small chassis. But even so, it still performs incredibly well for a 14-inch laptop and even beats many 15-inch gaming laptops. The GPUs, as I mentioned earlier, all have 100 watts, which although less than the max wattage allowed by Nvidia, is still impressive for this tiny 14-inch chassis, and a lot higher than its only 14-inch competitor, Asus G14, which we reviewed a few months ago. As always with Razer, you can configure the performance profile through Synapse. The default balance mode throttles back the performance a touch, but allows for a quieter system. I'd recommend this for day-to-day use and some light gaming. But for more configuration options, you need to switch it to custom. From here you can adjust the CPU and the GPU power limits. In all honesty, the GPU section seems a bit pointless to me. I just whack it straight onto the high-powered 100 watt mode, as balance is 90 watts anyway, and that's the only two options you really get. But with regards to the CPU, we have low, medium, high and boost settings. And I'd recommend for most people you stick it into high or boost to get the maximum performance out of this system. Obviously the fans ramp up a lot higher to keep up with the increased temperatures and wattage that we're going to be pushing out in this higher mode. And the CPU can still get up to 100 degrees centigrade. Now although this temperature sounds crazy, these Ryzen CPUs seem to be absolutely fine handling it. And also the Dell Alienware M15R5, which we've also reviewed, regularly hits over 100C in a much larger chassis and cooling solution. Now I can put up with the high temps, and we can adjust the CPU performance or profile to improve the temps, but the biggest gripe I have is how hot the laptop chassis gets. In particular, the palm rest gets incredibly hot on maximum performance, leading to a toasty hand gaming experience. Griping aside, gaming's been absolutely amazing on it, whether I'm gaming on the laptop screen or docked to my 34-inch ultrawide. It feels incredible playing AAA titles comfortably with such a tiny machine. So if you're buying a 14-inch gaming laptop, you are clearly looking for a laptop you can use for day-to-day tasks such as work, web browsing and media consumption as well as gaming, and this laptop really shines here. It's incredibly quiet and idle, and being such a compact 14-inch you can easily throw it in your bag and you'll hardly notice it there. The The battery life can also be incredible with a bit of tweaking. I turned off the RGB, I switched it to 60Hz, and managed just over 10 hours in our Wi-Fi video streaming test at 50% brightness and 50% speaker volume. If you're looking for a really powerful laptop for work and play, this is an incredible choice. Despite not initially looking to review this machine, I gave in to audience pressure and ordered it. I have you guys to thank for that. It's been an absolutely incredible and fun experience, especially as my personal laptop is a 17-inch beast, the Area 51M R2, and carting that thing around saves me buying a gym membership. Like all laptops, it's not perfect. For starters, there's the price. This is one expensive laptop, but you're paying a fortune to get something that no one else has really made. The G14 is a fair bit cheaper, but it's nowhere near as powerful or as compact as this Blade 14. Also, it does get hot both internally and externally, but this is the price you pay for putting such high-end components into a tiny chassis. So would I recommend it? Yes I would. Thank you for watching.